had to
Okay.
introduce yourself in 30 seconds or less, what would you say?
Yes. Okay. First, my name is Oluwatosin Shumi, as most of my friends call me Tosi. And a little bit of my background is I'm a humanitarian personnel with over 10 years of experience in program management and digital solutions in crisis context. I have worked for the various INGOs, that is International Non-Governmental Organization, and also UN agencies under the umbrella of World Food Program, specializing in cash-based programming and also driven by approaches to improve efficiency and effectiveness of humanitarian and development responses. My background from university is from Middlesex University, which I did business information system, and also some experience around logistics and supply chain. I'm passionate about empowering vulnerable communities and ensure that humanitarian assistance is both inclusive and sustainable. And I think that's a little brief of who I am, and I'm happy to share most of my experience in a larger way during the course of this interview. Thank you.
So, Oluwatosin, my first question to you. Tell us about a top moment in your humanitarian work and what did you learn from it?
Okay, a little bit of my experience about humanitarian, although it's a little bit challenging because our role, our job as humanitarian actors are to respond to emergencies, shocks, or any unforeseen circumstances that happen due to one, maybe climate change or any disaster. Yes, it's been very challenging because it involves last minute response to deliver to the most vulnerable people in the field,
Okay.
depending on the response and depending on the intervention. Why I said intervention, it depends on which area. Probably the last one I did was disaster management due to flooding in northwest Syria. Prior to that, I did the same as the last earthquake that happened February 6th, 2023. This has been most challenging for me, and what I have to overcome it is just by implementing more the factual approach. What I mean is that I have to put in the monitoring system, which I have to put in the context of starting before responding to any response in and on the field. And also one of the challenges and also what has also motivated me is working with dedicated teams of humanitarian actors who are able to respond as when need and also to deliver the project based on the donor's response needs and also based on the log frame which has been designed for every project.
So, how did you work with the UN World Food Program and Save the Children International shape your understanding of humanitarian crisis and response?
For the UN, well, UN is quite a diverse organization with different sectors. We have the UNFPA, we have the World Food Program, and also we have we have other INGOs which are linked to different sectors.
Okay.
If I might define sectors in different areas of intervention, for example, food safety and livelihood, education, nutrition to reduce malnutrition. We have health, health that's to resist to prevent diseases, and also we have protection for gender-based violence. So those are the challenges. Those are the intervention we put ourselves on. So we have different specialties. But for my role, I'm a cash specialist. So those are the sectors which I mentioned, but cash supports each of those interventions. So those are the things I do on a daily basis to ensure that we deliver to the right beneficiaries at the right time. Okay.
And what sparked your interest in cash based programming and how will it impact humanity efforts?
For first, good question.
Yeah.
For cash-based programming for intervention, one thing you have to understand is that cash brings dignity to people, give the people the choices to be able to deliver, to be able to buy the choice of what they need. For example, we have other intervention like in kind, whereby donors and INGOs provide food assistance to the beneficiaries, but cash is just another way of helping people to decide of what they want as when they need it. For example, now if we go to the remote areas, the
Okay.
remote vulnerable areas, sometimes what we think they need is not what we most donors used to give provide to them. So, but for cash, it gives them the dignity, the free will to buy what they need at the right time and as when it's being done. Also, cash also helps to prevent anticipatory action. What I mean by that is, for example, whereby there's a forecast of any flooding, any disaster coming, giving cash will help them to help the beneficiaries to let me say to protect to plan themselves by buying what they need. Like, for example, shelter, wash items like buckets, soap, and coal before the disaster happens.
Okay.
That's where we come in most times, and those are one of our jobs we do all. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I want to ask a personal question. As a humanitarian actor, you call yourself. Do you get scared sometimes? Because I see you guys as brave actors, so to speak. Do you get scared? And what experience do you want to share with us when you have to be in the scene and the whole caught up in between two worlds of chaos? How do you handle that situation?
Good, very good question. I don't know where to start. Yes, we are always scared, but for part of the training which we receive based on the organization, each organization have their own security training, and that's to prevent lives. Even though our job is to save beneficiaries in a war-torn area, whereby there's a bombardment between the non-actors and the government officials, we get scared, but our job is to save lives. But what you have to understand is for humanitarian actors, we are being protected by the humanitarian IHL, which is humanitarian,
Okay.
international humanitarian law. That gives the safety of all humanitarian actors in
Okay.
response. That
Okay.
is, government forces don't have the right to attack us or to shoot us. Even the de facto government don't have the right to harm us. So all these actors, when they're fighting, they would have to respect those things under the United Nations, one of the United Nations Charter. So we are being protected by that. Sometimes there might be some unforeseen circumstances that happen that might lead to some collateral damage one way or the other. But so we have in mind that we are more protected. And before we go for all this intervention, we also get a security report in terms
Okay.
of how we're going to move, how we're going to be protected, what vehicle we're going to use. We have two types of vehicle. We have the soft skin and we have the hard skin. The soft skin is a normal car. The hard skin is what we call the bulletproof, whereby we used to go into responses, save lives, or implement our roles. And then when it's been done, then we conduct a monitoring exercise. Then we use that as our benchmark to the donors that okay, this intervention has been done and be concluded.
Okay.
So definitely, yes, we're scared, but we just have to do the job as it went in because people also need our own uh, our own assistance as well. And I think one of the questions said I should give a brief example. Yes, it's
Yes.
the recent one is the clashes in northwest Syria between the government of Syria and the de facto government, which is in the northwest area.
Okay.
And they've been bombardment since the civil war in 2011. And this goes on a daily basis. I was caught up in a shootout where the
Wow.
was thrown at us in our areas of implementation. However, we've already notified both government where we're going, which location we're going, and they've already given us a claim bill that we can go there. Well, unfortunately, we have some army officers which are or the foot soldiers which don't really want to honor or like to disregard any charter of the rules of laws or rules of engagement between both parties. So that's where we are, and I've been surviving on that for a while now.
So you told me before when we had this conversation that humanitarian actors are neutral when it comes to war. Can you explain what you mean by that?
We are neutral in terms of we are not supposed to take side in any government or any de facto government. Our role is just to support to save lives. In terms of if we have two governments or having some disagreement, for example, the Ukraine Russia war. That's a simple example. Our role is just to go in and intervene, regardless of who party, who everyone is supporting. But that's also live in terms of donors as well. The donor response, we have to provide funds, and we have to provide to ensure that we're saving life. Life is more key to we humanitarian. So regardless of which with governments that are more stronger. Our role is just to go and save life. Others are like the Iraqi war, the Afghanistan war. As of today, we have settlement in those countries,
Okay.
but donors have to provide fundings for us to ensure lives are saved and prevent any other catastrophes to happen. That's our that's explained. That's explained the need we were discussing the last time.
Okay, so how do you ensure that humanitarian programs are tailored to meet the specific needs of affected population, particularly vulnerable groups?
Okay, in that area, the first thing everyone has to do is a program design. And designing a program, there are a lot of factors that need to be considered. First, that needs to be completed. Number one, there has to be like an assessment, like a need assessment, to see
Okay.
that okay, this is what is really needed for this program to start up, and other assessment like security to ensure that the security areas you're going to be implementing is very safe, it's in a good condition, which you have to do no harm to the people or those are the things we have to. Those are the first things we have to put in place before the program is the implementation starts. Then also, as other cash actors and the same, we have to put some monitoring and monitoring tools, checks in place for the program to look at the program itself, at the progress and the process the program is going, and that's going to be the stage during the implementation. At the end of the program, we do like an inline assessment to see
Okay.
if the program was successful, and that can be done through post delivery monitoring to see that you get feedbacks from the beneficiaries to get to determine if the project is successful. At the design stage again, you have to have like a logical framework which
Okay.
tells you that okay, this is the total number we want to reach, this is the intervention, and what results you want to attain for every intervention. So definitely, you have to put those key steps and key points in place before you can roll out any intervention. So that's how we start. But that's been done by different stakeholders in the humanitarian team.
Okay. So finally, what advice will you give to professionals seeking to transition into humanitarian work or specialize in cash-based programming?
Advice for me to anyone that wants to want to join. Well, first of all, I'd like to say they have to have a strong foundation in humanitarian principles. What I'm saying is they have to have a level of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and also independence in crucial of implementing their program. They have to familiarize themselves with humanitarian laws and other various frameworks that governs humanitarian action. Other ones for cash, the most for cash actors, I would advise them to focus on cash-based programming. There are different courses that explain different types of cash modalities, deliverables of cash, using of IT, using of data for monitoring of cash, also working with financial service providers, also doing some research and also um, looking at like journals as well, which will also help give them guide. Other ones is network with professionals in the field like ourselves. We're ready to share our experience with them, and we have good different networks. We have the food safety livelihood network. We have the cash-based network.
Okay.
So in each field, there are different networks you can reach out to different professionals. And also, let me just say, they also have to stay adaptable to be committed to learning.
Okay.
We have to also be learning most times because every day changes happen, new ideas coming. It's not humanitarian is not that static because we have to understand that different response are delivered in different contexts, in different countries, in different
Okay.
areas of operation, and also with different people. Because the response you can have in the Asian countries, like the Philippines, is different from the Middle East, like Gaza, or let's say not in Syria, or which is different in Haiti. So you have to stay committed to learn, see how people read people's journals, feedbacks, evaluation reports. This will also guide them um, this will also guide them to understand about humanitarian. And finally, I would tell them to just gain relevant experience.
Hmm.
At least to see if they can do some volunteering with different humanitarian organizations, which they'll be free. Like the last Maiduguri response, the flooding that happened in Nigeria, we saw a lot of volunteers that came out. At the end of the day, if they've shown their interest, organizations would like to bring them on board. And this could include like having like a field placement, internship, or just include them in their short-term assignment, which I'm also part of in different organizations like different INGOs. I mean one of their search teams. So if there's any response, you just reach out to me on the phone, and
Okay.
I will take up my actions, my bag, and take up the relevant response, like what is coming in a couple of days back. So for organizational discretion, I'm not yet to disclose where I'm going, but if some organizations have reached out to me for another emergency response, which I'll be taking on board and to help to reduce the humanitarian crisis in this area.
Yeah. Thank you, Oluwatosin Oshoni, for sharing your story. Your story is a reminder that every action counts. Thank you for coming today
Yeah,
to Resonate with Ami podcast episode. I appreciate you. God bless and take care.